Hello and welcome to Trends with LJE, Nigeria's flagship digital news program that brings to you all the news you need to know about in Nigeria. I am Shedrack Oka, standing in for Maimuna Zubar. We are set for a compelling conversation on today's biggest national headlines, from democracy, legal reforms, children's rights, and urban governance. To unpack and dissect these stories, I'm being joined by a distinguished panel. And in the absence of our other panelists, I have on stage with me today Dr. Uchiara Ikedichukwu Chris. Mr. Chris, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. How was the Children's Day celebration yesterday?
It was splendid. It was fine. The children had their time and with their teachers, with their parents. In fact, it was better.
All right, audience, let's get into it. Children's Day in Nigeria. Tinubu promises better future, condemns bullying. May 27th, Nigeria marked Children's Day with a strong message from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He pledges to build a safer and more secured environment for children, condemning bullying and child neglect in both physical and digital spaces. This year's theme was Stand Up, Speak Up, Building a Bullying-Free Generation. The president also launched the See Something, Say Something, Do Something campaign, urging community involvement in child protection. In his words, a child who learns in fear cannot learn well. A child who grows in fear cannot grow right. And in a positive development in line with education and youth support, the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, NELFUND, announced it has disbursed over 56.85 billion to 295,424 students across 198 tertiary institutions in just 1 year. Let's break this down further. 30.18 billion went directly to institutions for tuition. 26.63 billion was disbursed as living stipends, and over 554,000 student loan applications have been approved out of 602,417 registration. Dr. Chris.
Yes.
From a policy perspective, did you see this as sustainable, the student loan for, and how do you assess the president's focus on bullying and violence amongst children?
Okay, let me start from the area of our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu condemning bullying. Is a welcome development and an idea from a leader, of his magnitude. But my concern there is the issue of bullying. In the past and present, our leaders are good at, making objective statements without being a lead in the implementation. Now, I want us to see our president's condemnation as a welcome idea. But the condemnation, is he extended by the president in the area of governance in Nigeria today? Do we see such a condemnation and the implementation in the governance? Here we see the journalists are bullied. We see workers are bullied. We see other political parties bullied. So I expect what the president said, I want him to take the lead by implementing and stopping the issue of bullying. We saw bullying in every activity of this present government. The other day, it was FCDA, and they are aware of bullying under this administration. The other day, we saw the media being bullied in Akwa Ibom, under the watch of this administration, in Akwa Ibom government. So we want the condemnation to be extended and be actively implemented by the president and the government on the day.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chris. I think the Minister of Women Affairs who launched this program or anti-bullying campaign, do you think our government as a whole, this time around not limited to the APC administration under Bola Ahmed Tinubu, our government as a whole, do you see them prioritizing family? Because when you discuss the issue of bullying amongst children and in schools, it all stems from the home front. Do you think we have given less priority to family as a whole?
Yes, yes. Speaking from that angle, our families today was not given the required attention to the issue of bullying stemming from our individuals and families. This calls for parents to look into what is happening among their children, among their wards. You know, like the president said, a child that is bullied or who grew up being bullied does not grow well. He grows in fear. So today, this calls for all the families in our communities and Nigeria at large. We should curtail. Parents should look into their families, know what is happening among their children and wards, curtail the issue of bullying so that the children will not grow in fear, as the president said.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Chris. In our second developing story, Wike sealed PDP secretariat, 4,793 other buildings for over unpaid surface rent. Now the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, ordered the sealing of the PDP National Secretariat and over 4,793 other properties over unpaid ground rent. The properties span prime districts like Maitama, Asokoro, Wusetu, Wusape, and the central area. PDP has condemned the move, calling it politically motivated, and Damagun, the acting national chairman, terming it a red flag for democracy, as they had to hold their desperation in different locations. In response, President Tinubu has stepped in, giving defaulters a 14-day grace period to settle their debts, with additional penalties ranging from 3 million to 5 million depending on location. Dr. Chris, I come to you again. From the communication perspective, how do you interpret the optics and timing of this reinforcement?
Yes, from the communication aspect of it, I've been following this issue trend by trend, and communication-wise, the FCDA and the FCT administration has, from time to time, passed information to all the people, about 4,000 something properties, that are a victim of this tenement non-payment of tenement rate, and they were communicated. So it is up to them. How come? This issue has many phases to it. If it were to be some of these our people in Nigeria, these are our leaders that own all these properties abroad, they pay. So why do you expect you to be communicated or to be forced into paying your tenement rate? If they owe all these things abroad, some of them that owe properties, don't they pay it without being forced? Coming the other way around, let me say that the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, I was told, and I've read it, that he has been funding PDP for how many years? Now, my question to him is this: when you were funding this PDP and all about it, this tenement rate, where were you? Don't you know? Or were you not aware that this tenement rate was not paid when you were funding it? Or did this keep your memory that you have been the main funder of this political party? It didn't occur to you that it is time you pay the tenement rate? Or is it excluded from what you are asked to do? Now that you are the FCD minister, that is when you now remember that, yes, a tenement rate by PDP must be paid. I am not trying to say that PDP is supposed ought not to pay their tenement rate. No. But the force at which the administration is coming into it calls for another look and attention into it. So all the bodies, all the corporate organizations that are involved, including FIRS, they were communicated. And they said they paid. There are many phases to this issue. The banks also involved. So one of the phases, or the two phases in it, is that you that have not paid, you don't need to be forced before you pay what you're supposed to pay, or you're supposed to pay to the government. And you, as the enforcer of the policy, the way you are going about it is not supposed to be the way. thank God the president waded in by giving 14 days grace. So that is what is expected of a leader, and we appreciate him for doing that. Otherwise, it would have accumulated into another thing that we will be talking today.
Anyway, so it is right to say there is no wrong timing to doing what is right. But what do you say to those who are dismissing it as whether land administration or political suppression? Some allude that it is political suppression. After all, the PDP being a political party, just one out of over 4,000 other properties. What do you say to people who are saying it's political?
I don't see it. It was should I say, I can use the word coincidence, that it was a coincidence in the sense that Wike is the FCT minister, and non-payment of tenement rate by PDP happens to be in his during his administration. So what do you expect him to do? It is his statutory obligation to ask for the tenement rate of the people that are owing properties in FCT, sorry. So it is not for me. I don't see it as something politically motivated. If you owe, it is incumbent of you to pay or do the payment that you are asked to do. If you owe, you pay. Not anything. Don't see it as politics. It is not politics for me, if I am to say. So for me, it's a coincidence. He is the leader in FCT today, and it is expected of him as the FCT minister to ask for landlords or property owners to pay their tenement rate. So there's nothing politics about it.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Chris, for this insight. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll dissect more issues.
At LJE Nigeria, we are committed to ensuring justice, equality, and accountability. Reporting a violation helps us to protect rights and uphold transparency. In this short guide, we'll walk you through how to report a violation on our website. Simply start by visiting our website at www.ljenigeria.org. From the home page, locate the Report a Violation option in the main menu at the top. Once you're on the Report a Violation page, you'll be prompted to select the type of violation you are reporting. This helps us categorize your report for faster and more effective handling. Next, fill in your details. It is essential to provide accurate and clear information so that we can follow up effectively. Once you have completed the form, simply click Submit. You'll receive a confirmation message that your report has been successfully submitted. Your report will be reviewed by a dedicated team of experts, and will treat all reports with the utmost confidentiality and work diligently to ensure a thorough investigation. If you have any question or need assistance during the reporting process, please don't hesitate to reach out to us through our contact page. Together, we can make a difference. Visit www.ljenigeria.org to report any violation and join us in upholding justice and accountability.
All right, welcome back. Compulsory voting bill and the alleged padding of the 2025 budget, Nigerian budgets. Amidst public cry, the House of Representatives withdraw compulsory voting bill. The House of Rep has withdrawn a controversial bill that sought to amend the Electoral Act and making voting compulsory. The bill proposed penalties for eligible citizens who fail to vote, sparking major backlash. Supporters argue it will deepen civic participation. Critics said it undermines free will and ignores the systemic barrier to voting, such as security concerns and voter appetite linked to governance trusts. Yet again, Dr. Chris, can such a law be enforced in a country still battling electoral irregularities?
In fact, you see, let me still go back a bit to your previous questions to me in the area of bullying. What do we call this? This is a government, an arm of government or a government trying to bully the people to vote. What it means that if you are sick, you must vote. If you are not in position to vote, you must vote. You know, but thank God for the intervention of the House of Rep through the leadership of the House of Representatives to stop this ugly, I call it ugly bill that would have undermined democracy in all ramifications. So it is bullying for me, the government trying to bully the people, but still, thank God for the intervention of the leadership of the House of Representatives. And today, it is no more something on the table of the House for them to pass into.
Let me chip it, Dr. Chris. Do you think that compulsory voting could have worked if there is trust in the system was higher? I think the trust.
Let me tell you, it may not be absolute if it has to work. It may not be absolute, but there is a way that the people who troop out to vote, you will see it as something compulsory. If 80% or 90% of the populace come to vote, one can say the bill is working. But what would have made it to work is when the government on itself is working, it will propel the people to come and vote. So if you enact this kind of, if you pass this kind of bill into law and people comes to vote, the only thing that will make people to come and vote in mass, and it will be as if the bill is working or the law is working, will be that the government itself is working. People will be happy to troop out to vote. So, but in a dispensation where there is no governance, where the government have failed the people, it is impossible. It's impossible. It would have amounted to creating another big problem for this country.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chris, because that point on that compulsory mandatory voting bill was well argued and analyzed on this table. Would you now say with the withdrawal of that bill that this is a listening government?
For me, they have seen, I can't call them absolutely a listening government, because I think they engaged further and they saw that instead of solving problem for themselves, it would have amounted to more problem for both them in government and the people. So I can't say they are listening government. It is not. It's just because they have seen what it will cost them and the entire nation, and that's the reason it was withdrawn. So I can't, because of this singular issue, and call this government a listening government.
Thank you very much. Now on to our last story, the padding of 2025, alleged padding of the 2025 budget. A civil society group is raising red flag again, this time over the alleged 6 trillion padding in the 2025 federal budget through Senate insertion. According to the breakdown by budget, the figure represents 12.61% of the 54.99 trillion naira approved for the year, with a total of 393.29 allocated for streetlights alone and similar arbitrary amounts earmarked for borehole and ICT projects. Budget IT asserts that this questionable insertion have no clear line of implementation and appear disconnected from constituency need. This has ignited calls for budget reform, transparency, and a more citizen-focused legislative culture in Nigeria. I ask you, what's your perspective to this loaded issue, Dr. Chris?
Shadrach, when it comes to the issue of budget and the pattern that follows in this country, it has become a norm. There is no time the budget is presented to the National Assembly and you don't hear an issue of budget padding. And who are the people padding? When you see budgets being padded and nothing happens to the people that does this. But thank God for the intervention of the civil society organization. If not for their intervention, who would have just known? When a budget is presented to the National Assembly, you see issues presented in more than 4-5 places. The same issue being repeated in more than 4-5 places. What does it mean? And you don't see these things reflect or take its place in our communities. At the end of it all, it goes back to some individual pockets. So the issue of budget and the pattern that follows is a norm for me. We look forward to see what will come out of this intervention and finding by the budget IT. So for me, if they want to do something tangible, since it has come to the public space, they should stop budget padding. Make it something that when it happens, whoever is involved should go in for it. But for me, like I said earlier, it's a no, and nothing will come out of it.
Right, let me ask you further, Dr. Ikedichukwu Chris. How can the media better educate Nigerians on tracking public finance and holding lawmakers accountable in this case?
You see, it all lies in the hands of the CSO, that's the civil society organizations, and the media. But the thing is this, the Freedom of Information Bill that was enacted, do the government of the day allow it to take its place? The media is not allowed to use the power vested on them as the fourth estate of the ring to do their work. The media is stifled from making certain issues public. The media is stifled from educating the public. So how can this kind of a bill work for the country and the people? So the media on their own is trying what they can do, or what is expected of them to do statutorily, to engage, communicate, and advocate on issues like this. But the government of the day, being what it is, has prevented the media from taking its work to the people. So I don't think the presence of the media is actively being involved in all this. So if the government can give the media free hand to do their work as recommended or as stipulated in our constitution, I think everything will work well. So it all lies in the hands of the government of the day to allow the place of separation of power. Let the executive be, let the judiciary be, let the media be, and let the legislature be. So if it is done this way, I think we will enjoy democracy to the fullest.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chris. That is it on today's edition on Trends with LJE. A big thank you to my guest, Dr. Chris, for the laudable insight and sharing your insight and expertise. From community safety to civic duty and public finance, the threads connecting our national discourse are many. But one thing is clear, Nigerians are watching, speaking up, and demanding better. Till next time, I am Shedrack Oka, standing in for Maimuna Zubara. Keep the conversation going, stay informed, stay tuned, and be involved actively. Join us and participate through joining us in our social media handles displayed on your screen. Thank you. See you next time.
Thank you.